We do have Holly Robichaud with us now on the line, so let's get right to it. Holly, welcome to the program, and glad to have you with us on this Thursday.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And I am at work, so are they coming to arrest me?
Well, I was going to say, day two of the mask emergency. Are you masked or unmasked?
I am unmasked. I am so far, but I haven't had to go out, so...
Well, I had to wear my mask yesterday just to go to the doctor's office for a little procedure because they wouldn't let me in the door without it, so I had to wear it.
You know, I wish. Look, we were told last month not to wear the mask because we were taking away from the healthcare workers. Now we're told we should be wearing the mask. I'm confused. But the good news, Barry, is we talked about that it made absolutely no sense to keep the golf courses closed. And I guess there is a speck of sanity coming out of the State House, and they have decided to reopen the golf courses. I mean, the whole game is social distancing. I don't understand why they were ever closed. And that means that those people are going to be getting their jobs back, which is good news.
Yeah.
And it sounds
well,
like
that is good news.
Yeah, and the people that sell flowers are going to be allowed to get their jobs back. And the people that sell jewelry are going to be allowed to get their jobs back. Now, if you work for Kohl's and Christmas tree stores, you're kind of screwed. So, which makes absolutely no sense because last weekend I went to Home Depot, and at the same plaza, there's Home Depot, there's Ocean State Job Lot, there's a grocery food store, and there's a Staples. All of them allowed to be open except for Kohl's. It makes no sense. And this is destroying the economy. You know, I was talking with my niece yesterday. She's having a hard time finding a summer job because nothing's open.
And there are a lot of adults that are going to be competing with the kids for what jobs do open this year because a lot of folks are out of work. You mentioned the store closings and the arbitrary decisions on which stores can open and which can't. My wife and I know you just moved last week. That's why you weren't here. My wife and I moved recently as well. We can't find furniture for our house because the furniture stores, we have a couch. We have a futon. We have a futon and a TV, and that's pretty much what we're living with right now because I can't go to a furniture store and pick out a sofa, but I can go to Target and get a TV.
Right. It doesn't make any sense. And we ordered furniture before the pandemic hit. And so, but now we spent a lot of money. We can't get it. We can't get it right now because they're all closed. And it's a little frustrating. But, I mean, when have you ever been to a furniture store where you're on top of the next people?
Yeah.
Have you? No.
No.
You can social distance at a furniture store. So why can't they be opened? And isn't furniture somewhat essential?
Well, you would think, yeah. But this is crazy. I mean, we've gotten to a point where some of this stuff is very silly and it's frustrating. But we've gotten to a point where it's gotten very serious. We've seen SWAT teams sent in Texas to I think it was a little bar. Three old-timers sitting at a bar, and a freaking SWAT team comes in with guns drawn and everything. And, of course, we've got the case of Shelley Luther, who, in my opinion, is an American patriot, who stood up to an oppressive judge who basically said, kiss my ass, and I won't put you in jail. But if you don't do that, then you're going to jail. So she chose to go to jail. And so she's in jail for 7 days for opening her hair salon because she has kids to feed. She's behind in her mortgage, and her employees also have kids to feed. And she told the judge, look, my employees are not eating because they're trying to feed their kids. If you're going to throw me in jail, do it, but I'm not going to close down. So, I mean, we've crossed off into the twilight zone somewhere at this point.
It is. And, this morning I was working with a congressional candidate, and I said, this has gone from, really important race to extremely serious that we have to win because our freedoms are being eroded right in front of our eyes. I mean, we're being told what we can eat, where we can go, what we can wear, and people are being told that they can't run their businesses. And I am sure Shelley knows how to social distance for her customers. I mean, nobody's going to want to go in there if they're all gathered together. So I know she knows how to run her own business. And for the government to come in and say, I don't think so, they're so wrong, and they lock her up for this,
Yeah.
If this doesn't wake up everybody to see that this isn't the country we were promised as kids, this is becoming a dictatorship with 51 dictators as governors.
This isn't the country that I thought I lived in 9 weeks ago.
Right.
We've become something that is completely different at this point. But you know what I find amazing, Holly? Where the hell is the American Civil Liberties Union? Aren't they supposed to be on Shelley's side? Aren't they supposed to be on our side at this point? I mean, standing up for our civil liberties and our rights. Where are they?
They are missing in action. They're probably defending some illegal immigrants, saying that they didn't get a stimulus check.
Yeah. The other thing, too, where are the women's groups with Shelley Luther? Now, here's a woman who is trying to provide for her children and a male judge. I mean, she's a female business owner, also a mother trying to provide for her children. And a male judge says, essentially, kiss my ring and I won't put you in jail. But if you refuse to apologize to me, then you're going to go to jail. And other than Sarah Palin, I've not heard a single woman on the national scene come out and defend this woman. And as far as I see it, Shelley Luther is a national hero. She's a patriot. She's standing up to the oppression, and she's a martyr for the revolution that's been actually going on in this country for a few years now. And but she's a soldier out there alone, at least on the stage, the national stage. I understand her GoFundMe has gotten over $500,000 so far. As of this morning. So, but you got to wonder where all these people are that should be standing by her side at this point, the women's groups and everybody else.
Well, what you're seeing is a lot of those special interest groups that have the great names such as NOW, National Organization for Women, that's not their priority. They're really not about women. They're about their liberal, extreme agenda, pro-abortion, not for women. I don't care where you stand on abortion, but I'm saying their priority is not women, and they should be right down there helping this woman, and they're not, and they don't do what they're supposed to do. And all these liberal groups, they're loving this because they want to control our lives. They love in this, and so don't the Democrats. And moreover, they want to use this. They want to wreck the economy so that they can get rid of President Trump, and that's what's going on.
Bring it back locally here and talk about the mask thing, because we kind of joked about it, but the mask thing took effect yesterday here in the Commonwealth, and King Charlie essentially last Friday signed an executive order demanding that we wear masks. Not only in public places, but outdoors as well. And when I say public places, Walmart and the supermarkets and all of that, but you got to wear it. You got to wear your mask outside too if you can't enforce the social distancing rules. Now, this executive order was signed on Friday, and it was so urgent that it didn't take effect until 5 days later on Wednesday.
I know.
And it's
I know.
9 weeks into this state of emergency. Where the hell? And the U.S. Surgeon General back in March said, don't wear the mask. They're not helpful to you in any way. As a matter of fact, they can help you to actually contract the virus, because when you wear a mask, you touch your face more. So all of this huge contradiction about the masks. And you listen to Baker and you listen to our own mayor here in the city, John Mitchell, says, well, if you don't have a mask, wrap a T-shirt around your face. That's not going to help. That's a placebo.
Well, that's what I said earlier, right? Look, I mean, they told us a month ago not to wear the masks, that they wouldn't help, and that we were stealing them from the healthcare workers that actually did need them. Right. So they signs the executive order and waits 5 days. What, did the virus go on vacation for 5 days, and now it's bad? I don't understand these
Took a long weekend, yeah.
Yeah. It just at this point.
Hey, we got some breaking news here, Holly. Just in, the Texas Supreme Court has just ordered Shelley Luther released from jail.
Oh, that's wonderful news.
Yeah,
that's
just came in just now. So that is certainly good news. But I think
that also sets a very good precedent for other people to say that they're going to open up as well.
How many lawsuits do you expect to see after all of this is finally settled here? You know, when the dust finally settles on this and the court's open, when the judges and they actually come back to work, you know?
A whole bunch. I think you're going to see some over people that purposely get fined on the face masks. I think you're going to see a lot of businesses that were arbitrarily closed and not listened to about that they could safely reopen. I think you're going to see a lot of people getting sued over this whole mess here. Telling people that they cannot open up, they can't make a living. You're going to see a ton of people, a ton of lawsuits.
Interesting poll results this week from the, I think it was Suffolk University, Boston Globe was involved in there, and I think there was a third entity as well on the idea of voting by mail this fall. And if I remember correctly, the results were, I think, 84%. Is that correct? That 84% of respondents believe that we should vote exclusively by mail in November. Now, this is Massachusetts, but still, does that number surprise you a bit? I mean, you got to consider the source of the polling, but does that seem high?
That would scare me on this. I mean, I'm doing a race out in the Las Vegas area, and they're only mailing the ballots. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of discrepancies, and the ballots just came out. It's ripe for voter fraud. I mean, look, I like that people have to go to their polling place, get their name checked off, and vote. And I wanted them to show ID. Now we're just, what if people are stealing ballots out of the mailbox? This is just ripe for voter fraud, and I am against. Look, if somebody needs to vote absentee, I get that, but to mail out all the ballots, I find that very scary. Remember, in the state of Massachusetts, when Elizabeth Warren's daughter sued the state and got all the ballots, all the voter registration cards mailed to the welfare recipients, and most of them came back bad. I mean, now you want to be mailing out those ballots? I don't think so. I think people need to exercise their rights, and maybe it would wake them up to how important it is.
A perfect warning sign how this is going to go. If they do decide to go by mail ballot only for this election, we have a number of listeners that listen to this program and listen to the station that have called in to report that they have received stimulus checks for deceased husbands, wives, whatever, and don't know what to do with them. They can't get in touch with anybody to get the checks mailed back or taken back. And I guess there's even been some advice out there that you might actually be able to keep those checks. So if the government can't
I'll take one of those. I didn't get one.
I haven't gotten one either. So, I mean, if the government can't mail out stimulus checks properly without sending money to people that are dead, how can we trust that they're going to be able to send out ballots to people that aren't dead and have somebody else voting for the dead people? I mean, it's crazy to think that.
Right. I mean, look at the fraud when they mailed them out to welfare recipients, the voter registration cards. Most of them came back bad. I fear that I fear what's going to happen. And look, when they're going to get mailed. People are going to know the date that they're arriving. So what's to say somebody's not going to go to 100 mailboxes that day and just pull them out?
Okay, I can
involve. Right, people are going to be ripping off ballots. And look, I have been involved in a campaign down in Pennsylvania where the mail-in ballots, the early voting ballots, were mailed to a P.O. box for the Democrat. And they were throwing out any of the ballots that were from a registered Republican, just chucking them. And so there's going to be a ton of voter fraud. This is not the way to do it. We need people to go in and check in. And I know they want the convenience, but you know what? If George Washington and our founding fathers can put their lives on the line to create these freedoms we have, we can inconvenience ourselves once in a while to go out and vote.
I just remember the purple thumbs, right, from Baghdad a few years back. Just closer to home, so I was reading on the State House News Service this morning, the legislature is in the process of borrowing billions of dollars to continue funding government here.
Yeah, and we're already the most indebted state in the nation per capita.
Yeah.
Not good. And, Barry, where's the money? Because this is we had started off this year with going on trajectory of having $1 billion surplus. We had $1 billion surplus last year. Where's the money? Where is that money? And maybe it's time, when we have a state budget of $43 billion, it might be time for them to start taking a look at that budget and saying, we need to cut here, we need to cut there, because what I'm fearful of is, yes, they are borrowing it, but they're going to come back to us and say, it's not enough, we're going to have to tax you even higher. Because at some point, the ratings companies and Moody's are going to take a look and say, wait a minute, you borrowed all this money, you're going to have to raise taxes to pay for it. And they're going to hit us. And it's time for the State House, it's time for the legislature to do their jobs and go through this budget. Stop doing a budget in 3 days that's $43 billion and not going through it and saying, wait a minute, where can we find some savings here? Because, I mean, we're already Massachusetts. This is going to put Massachusetts on a Red Bull if they don't do something soon.
Yeah. What about so the governor now, the governor had appointed a task force of folks to look at reopening the government, and I guess they have reported back to the governor. I mean, all signs seem to indicate, and we're already beginning to see it happen now, that we're going to have some sort of soft opening by May 18th. What do you think is going to happen first? Do you think we're going to see some restaurants open? I know we got the golf courses, as you mentioned today, opening, and
we got the flower shops reopening. We got the jewelry stores reopening. I don't know. I didn't like his statement earlier this week where it said that it was going to be a slow reopening. Look, I've been tired of this for more than a month at this point. Yeah. And I know so many people that are hurting from this, and they're just out of work. They're worried about whether they're going to have a business that survives this. And for him to say it's just going to be a soft reopening, and also I don't like that it's a task force. Once again, of people that he's hand selected. I'm sorry, the buck stops with the governor.
Yeah, that's what we pay him for, right?
Take some ownership responsibility of this and say, okay, here's how we're going to reopen. And at this point, look. At this point, this is May 7th. We're supposed to open on May 18th. Why isn't there a plan? Okay, maybe if he wants to reopen, then maybe it should have said we're going to reopen and everybody wears the mask. But now we're just wearing a mask. I mean, have a plan, and especially for like the Cape Cod area where it's dependent on the tourist season. Memorial Day weekend is right around the corner, the kickoff of their season, and yet they have no plan. Charter boats, they're sitting idly. They can't do anything. They're going to go out of business. This is their season. I am so frustrated. Work around the clock, get this done. Let's have a real plan on how to reopen on May 18th. Or what you're going to have is a lot more of that lady down in Texas, saying, I'm going to just reopen. My understanding, that's how the flower shop got listed as being able to reopen for Mother's Day, because I understand there were several that saying, basically, to hell with it, we're opening.
Yeah, the Retailers Association of Massachusetts really went to bat for them, and that's good. Yeah. We need more of that. Finally, before I let you go for today, Holly, Nancy Pelosi has announced that she's had her final say on the Joe Biden affair. I'm not going to answer any more questions about it. So what happens next?
Did she answer any questions?
Yeah, right. The issue is that's it. We just put it away. Okay, Nancy, that's okay. We won't talk about it anymore.
Barry, the Democrats have declared it over. The media is in bed with them, so it must be over now. The standards between the Republicans and the Democrats is scary, and the biggest problem is that the media doesn't play the referee. They don't hold Democrats as accountable as they hold Republicans, and until they do, we're going to have a problem in this country. It's like going to a rigged game. Nobody would enjoy watching the New England Patriots play if you knew it was rigged in favor of them. You just wouldn't. And, I mean, that's what we're seeing here in the media. They've got it rigged for the Democrats, and unfortunately, a lot of buffoons are falling for it.
Just one more finally before I let you go. Kayleigh McEnany, did you see her press conference yesterday?
No, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Oh, you got to go back and watch it. It's all over the internet. At least the closing moments of it, anyway. She is tough. She used to do some guest shots on this program back when she was working for the campaign, and I'll tell you, she is. You think Sarah Huckabee Sanders was tough? Whew, press doesn't know where to hit it yet. She's going to be a joy to watch. I think we're going to see daily press conferences return again.
Well, that would be great. That would be great.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Hey, Holly Robichaud, appreciate you being with us as always. Never even mentioned Liz Warren's name today, and I guess that's a good thing. Sometimes you got to take a holiday from that. But Holly Robichaud, political consultant and columnist, thank you for your time today. We'll chat with you next week.